Welcome to Advanced 360 Creating a Test Part 1. You will hear Advanced 360 sometimes referred to as CN Online. Beginning with the academic year 2014-2015, we will no longer be using the term CN Online. Before we can create the actual test, we must first make sure that we have questions to insert. Remember, what you're building into a learning management system should be able to be reused with very little modification. This includes questions for quizzes and exams. Once a question is in the question repository, it can be used for multiple exams across many of your courses. Let's get started by selecting the Repository tab located on the top navigation bar. We have previously uploaded content to the Files tab of the repository. Now we're going to use the Questions tab. The first thing we want to do is to create a folder to place the questions in. It helps later on if we stay organized. First, I'll create a top-level folder with the name of the course. Next, we create subfolders to house like items. This could be by chapter, unit, or subject material. Let's make sure that we're in the right folder before creating or importing the questions. Questions can be moved later, but it really is easier if they're in the right place the first time. Once we're sure we're in the right folder, we see that on the right side of the screen, there's an option to add a new question. There are 7 different types of questions. For this example, I'll select the multiple choice option. Advanced 360 has automatically entered a generic title, but remember, you may want to use the same question in several tests or even over different courses. In order to be the most efficient later on, the title should give the future reader an indication of the question's content. I'm not very inventive when it comes to sample scenarios, so we'll just do something silly. Type the question in the HTML text editor. If you're copying and pasting from Word, remember in the editor to use the special paste function, which is accessed by selecting the word icon. The HTML editor will catch almost all misspelled words. Right-click on the word to select the suggested spellings. I like to randomize any multiple choice answers. Although entering in feedback for correct and incorrect answers is optional, the use of these fields make for great teachable moments. This is especially true when using questions on practice tests. Select the radio button here if the answer you're about to enter is the correct one. And type in the correct answer. Next, I'll fill in the incorrect answer fields. Now we'll save and return to the question bank to create our next question. First, let's take a look at the question we just created. We can see what it looks like when the student takes the test. I'll run through creating a question one more time. Watch as I complete a new multiple choice question. And again, I'll change the title to reflect the content of the question. When a correct answer includes a combination of multiple selections, here you can choose to grant partial credit. It's important to limit the number of choices. If you don't and the student selects all 4, and let's say only 2 are correct, the program will mark the answer as being 100% correct. Answer 1 is one of the correct choices. We'll type in Linda, she's our assistant registrar. And this is one of the correct answers. Let's finish with 2 more. And 1 incorrect answer. Now we'll save and return to the question bank. Let's see what this one looks like. We see when the student tries to select all the answers, a message appears notifying that they are only allowed 3 responses. No, it doesn't say whether there are 3 correct responses. There still may only be 2, but you're allowing them to select 3. Creating the questions one at a time may be tedious, but the good news, they're reusable. Let's now talk about the import selection. Advanced 360 provides a sample import file. Yes, it's programming, but it's a simple template where you just need to change the values. First is the question name, followed by the question type. In this case, we see it's a multiple choice. After the type is the correct answer and then the point value of the answer. This one is fill in the blank. This an open-ended essay question. Multiple answer, true or false, and last is the matching type. To save the template, select or highlight all of the text. Now open Notepad or whatever text editor you have on your system. Word is not a good choice, but if you do use Word, you'll need to save it as a plain text file. Now we'll right-click and paste or Control-V, whatever your favorite method is of pasting. Save the file to the computer. The next step is to use this template to create your own questions in this file, or if you're lucky, have a student worker create the questions for you. After returning to Advanced 360, we're ready to import the text file that holds all of our questions. When it's ready to upload, you'll see the name of the file here. Select the Upload button. The questions now appear in the folder and are ready to edit or use. Now it's your turn. Log on to Advanced 360 and try your hand at creating a few questions in your question repository. In the next recording, we'll create the test, look at test settings, and insert questions.